Since the beginning of the pandemic up until December 2021, $42 trillion of wealth was created. Think about that number for a moment. That is not like $42 billion. That is $42 trillion. Almost twice the size of the entire US economy. Twice the size of the largest economy in history. The question is, where did that money go to? How much of that wealth is in your hands? Probably not much. In fact, some of you are most likely broke with little to no savings and a lot of debt. You tried your luck in the stock market, even if you have made some gains, most of you lost. But guess who made a lot of money in 2022? Citadel. Yes, the hedge fund that bet against GameStop. Citadel reported a $16 billion profit last year. That is more money than many $100 billion companies make. So if you are wondering who made the $42 trillion during the COVID era, here is your answer. $26 trillion of that went to the top 1%. They have made more money than anyone could have imagined. The rest went to the bottom 99%. Of course, mostly to a higher bracket of that 99%. Almost everyone in countries such as US, UK or Europe go to school, and yet most people are financially uneducated. Why most people still end up losing money when so much wealth is created? While we are taught math, history, biology in school, the subject of money is always ignored as if it's something that should never be discussed, and yet most parents want their kids to go to school to do better financially. How does that make sense? Is it the elite of the society that wants us to stay financially uneducated so that they keep making their trillions while we are barely making ends meet? They say we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with. So if the people you spend most of your time with are financially uneducated, how can you expect yourself to be one? But how do you know that someone is financially educated? How do you know that if your friends are financially educated? How do you know if you are financially educated? Here are the 5 signs that you're financially educated. Give this video a thumbs up and let's start with the first one. You know how to spend money to make more money. Since my parents were immigrants, I grew up with this mentality of saving as much as I can. Why spend money when I can get that for free? Why pay when I can put some time into it and somehow get it for free as well? I lived most of my life with this mentality, but the problem with this mentality is that while it is great to save money, you need to spend money to make money. The whole purpose of money is not to be stored somewhere in your bank account. Money is a resource that you have to use effectively. If you can spend it to make more money, then you should spend as much as you can. But quite often, spending money doesn't necessarily result in immediate return. For example, paying a few $100s to go to an event where you can make great connections doesn't pay back the next day. These connections might not be helpful today, but in the long run, at least one of these people can save you a fortune. How much money do you actively invest in yourself? Make a checklist and write down how much you have invested in yourself the past 30 days. How about the last 90 days? Most people don't invest in themselves, period. Besides college. Rich people never hesitate to spend money to make them more efficient, to save time or make them feel better. If there is a book that can make you smarter or wiser, go ahead and buy it. If you prefer audiobooks, for example, get that audiobook now and start listening. If there is a course that will improve your skills, don't hesitate to take it. If there is an event where you can meet great people, don't hesitate to go there. Of course, not everything you learn will be helpful. Not everyone you meet will be helpful. But if you micromanage everything, you will end up wasting a lot of time and stay where you are. And guess what? Time isn't going to wait for you. You will get elder and one day you will no longer be around. The goal is not to keep saving. The goal is to keep making more and more money so that you can invest in your comfort, so that you can delegate routine work and save yourself valuable time. Money is that resource that's supposed to make your life better and not just be stored somewhere forever. If I hadn't invested so much into myself, I wouldn't be where I am now. I read around 5 to 7 books every single month about self-improvement, business, the stock market, everything that would help me grow. Imagine someone would spend his entire life trying to achieve something great and then writes down all of his secrets in a little 200-page book. That's what makes books so valuable. But it's just so difficult to read books in the age of TikTok and social media. Our attention span has been so squeezed that most people don't have the patience to read a 200-page book. But don't worry, I've got a solution. It is called short form. It's one of the best investments you can ever make in yourself. It takes a book, let's say The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, and covers all the key ideas in one-page summary and then gives you further analysis in a chapter-by-chapter breakdown. They're super detailed, so you get the book's key points at a deep level without the fluff. There is an audio feature so you can learn on the go. And after each chapter, they have interactive exercises to help you retain what you read. You can start reading books while you're in the subway, waiting for a coffee, or before going to bed. Use my link in the description to get a free trial and a 20% discount on the annual subscription, which is 2 months free. You're focused on making more money than saving more money. This is by far the most important trait. How much are you making per month? $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever is the amount, that is your ceiling. You can't save more than that. If you save literally your entire income, you can't save more than $10,000 if you make $10,000, even if you assume you don't pay rent or eat or drink. There is still a limit. So focusing on saving is going to take you to nowhere. It is a waste of time. Let me ask you a different question. How much can you possibly make? Infinite. There is no such thing as a limit. Some people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, others millions, and some billions of dollars. So even if Bill Gates tries his best to save all of his income, he wouldn't be able to save more than $20,000 if he's making $20,000. Do you see the difference? Do you realize why it's important to shift your focus? Number 3. You're not worried about future financial problems. When you're young, especially teenagers or just hit your 20s, you probably stress a lot about money. But when you stress too much, you start playing the game of money too safely, and as a result of that, you will make meaningless progress. Financially educated people know that wealth is built over time. Time is usually what creates wealth. If you're a 20-year-old kid with no savings, that is absolutely fine. The more you stress about it, the less rational and wise decisions you're going to take. In fact, you might even take decisions that will earn you money now, but will hurt you in the long run. I've seen so many people taking low-paying jobs when they're young instead of learning new skills. You can still work at McDonald's and get yourself a brand new iPhone. But what is far more important is learning new skills, reading that book, or investing in yourself in any way or form you can. I don't want to undermine the importance of working early because it gives you the experience you need, but nevertheless, many people get stuck in low-paying jobs working around the clock without spending enough time improving their skills. Number 4. You dress to look rich. People like Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg led us to believe that you don't have to wear a fancy suit. You can just wear a t-shirt and pants, and people have to treat you for who you are and not for how you look. You should strive to become rich and not just look rich. I agree with that 100%. But unfortunately, that is not how the world works. People don't care about who you are, they care about what they see. If they see a man with a fancy suit and expensive car, they will assume you're someone worthy of connecting to. But if you look cheap, even if you're a millionaire, people won't care. That's just a brutal reality of life. Act like a king to be treated like a king. Don't be fooled by the likes of Mark Zuckerberg. These are hyper-successful people. They don't have to dress fancy or drive expensive cars. Everybody knows that they're the richest people on earth. But I and you, my friend, aren't on the top of the Forbes list. So until you are there, dress to attract the right people to yourself. And finally, you value connections as much as you value money. The people who make everything about money are the people who don't understand anything about money or are just naive and just have started their journey into financial freedom. Money is not something to strive to. Money is a resource like any other resource. It is definitely way better in many ways since it can be used far more effectively, but it has its limitations as well. So are people. In fact, people are sometimes far more valuable than money. Knowing the right person can solve your problem way faster than trying to solve it with money. Entrepreneurs know that for a fact. When you start or have a business, you can have all the money in the world, but you aren't going to build a successful business without the right people around you. You have no idea how many businesses go down just because they are surrounded with the wrong people. Financially educated people know the value of people, so they don't mind spending money or in some cases lose money just to be able to connect with the right people. Look around yourself. Who are the people you spend most of your time with? Who are your most valuable connections? How many high-value individuals do you know? How many business owners do you know? How many CEOs do you know? How many politicians do you know? Are you friends with the mayor of your city? And now let me know in the comments below, how many of these traits do you have? How many of your friends have these traits? Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.